Hi, my name is Jean Erickson Burton. I'm an accredited Swedish genealogist. In the previous video for this series, you've been introduced to the 5 main Swedish church records. In the final video of this series, you will learn how to use the 5 record types cooperatively to help you discover and recreate complete families. Just as a reminder, for this series, I will be using Archive Digital for my demonstrations. Archive Digital can be accessed for free at any family search center. All records images used in this series are courtesy of Archive Digital. Now that we have been introduced in our previous video to the 5 main church records of Swedish research, it's time to put it all together and learn to find complete families by using a basic methodology for Swedish research. There are various methodologies that are used when researching Swedish genealogy. The one I'm introducing you to today is a simple strategy I used for beginning research. Here is my methodology chart. These 6 steps help the new Swedish researcher know what to do next. We'll start with step A. In step A, it says to locate a record that chronicles an event in someone's life, such as a birth, marriage, or death record. This will help you find their place of residence. To be successful, carefully select who you will research so that you can find a record for step A. I've chosen to research Hilma Katrina. Now, very little is known about Hilma, but what I do know is that she grew up in Sandarne and that her mother Anna was a widow when Hilma was growing up. I would like to know more about her. There are 3 things that make Hilma an ideal research candidate. The first thing is that I know her name, Hilma Katrina. I don't know her last name, but unless there's another girl with the same name, born on the same date in Sandarne, whose mother's name is Anna, I should be able to find my Hilma Katrina in the birth records. The second thing that makes Hilma a likely candidate for my research is that I know where she lived. By looking in Archive Digital, I find that Sandarne is a parish. A parish has many small villages and towns in it. I don't know the village where she grew up, but I can research her quite successfully even if I only know the name of her parish, as long as I have the third point of research, a good solid date. Fortunately, I know Hilma's full birth date. Knowing a birth date is ideal for my research. But if I don't know her birth date, I could choose a different date, maybe a marriage or a death date. I could even choose the date a child of hers was born. I just need an accurate date that I can point to that lets me know where she was in that parish on a specific day. In order to complete step A, I need to find her birth record so I can locate the residence where she lived when she was born. In step A, it says that I need to locate a record such as a birth or a marriage. Using her birth date, I'm going to show you how to look for Hilma's birth record in hopes of learning the identity of her parents and discovering the residence where she lives, where she grew up. The reason for doing this is so that we can find her family later in the household records. So let's look at Archive Digital. Up here they have both an archive search and an index search. We're wanting the archive search. We're going to go in here. We're going to look for Sandarne. That's the parish she lived in. Now, here are all the records. First, they start with the household records. We're looking for birth records. We come down below. This is in English, by the way. You can do Swedish up here at the top. I'm moving down. Here are the birth records. She was born in 1872, so we want to come in here for the birth records. You'll see right here where it says what those are. All of the rest of the pages are in Swedish, but you can get the headings and things in English. So opening up the volume, we're going to go to 1872. We're going to look first at the front and see if there's an index. There's not. And I did check the back. Originally, there's not one back there either. So we're going to go through. Up at the top, you'll see where it says over here, 18. They'll oftentimes write the year. They have not done that yet. We're going to go ahead and scoot forward, see if we can find a date. This is 1872. We'll want to go a bit more. And then right here, she is born in April. So you'll look here, that's March of 1872. We're going to go down. We're looking for Hilma Katrina, April 18th. there she is right here. April 18th, Hilma Katrina. Now right up here it says Skolmakeren, Jon or Johan, for Eric, and Pettersson, Oak for and, Hu, abbreviation for hustru, which means his wife, Anna, Johanna, and Soderstrom is her last name, from Saltlut. That's a place in Söderhamn, I believe. Then over here, there's some notes that were written by the pastor. This column is just specifically for his use. April 21st. Now, if you look up here, I want you to get used to seeing this. This is going to be right here where they're due. That means baptism. It's the year, month, and day. So coming back down here, they don't always fill out the forms the exact same way every time. I believe this is our column. Where were the parents? So here's the Skolmakeren, and we're going to come along here. This section right here is for witnesses. This is abbreviated Arbiter Anders Mattsson, meaning the worker Anders Mattsson, and Oak, and his hustru from this area, and he's then the worker Arbiter Lars Olaf, and they're from the same area, Söderhamn, and Pigen, Christina Katarina Blom from Söderhamn. And then over here, it's a word, and that is a hard word to understand. Ved Saltlums, and we're trying to figure out what this word is. Well, let's look and see if somebody has it up above. There's one there. I still don't recognize it, so I keep going. And right there, we recognize that it's Fud. Fud Vigd, which means born in. So she is born in Sartlov. Now, when you find a document and you can't read something, look around on the page. The document is the best tool you have for understanding what's been written. Okay, so we have found her birth record, and we are going to now move to the next step. So here's what we've learned from reading the birth record. Notice how much information we've gained from just one record. With each record, we will watch this list of information grow. Now that we've collected information from the birth record, we are ready for Step B. Step B says, using the residence, find the family in the household record. I'm going to look for Hilma in the household record at the time period of her birth. Hopefully the information we gained from the birth record will help us locate her family in the household record. Using Hilma's birth date, we're now going to look in the household record to find her family at the time she was born. Remember, she was born in 1872, so we're going to look at A113 right here, where it is in 1872. Always look at the front or the back to see if you can find a register. There could be 3 different types of registers. One's for occupation, that'd be organized according to the work. One would be by location and one by a name. So this one, it does say up at the top it is in Sandarne. But look, it starts with A, and this is Abrahamson, so we know this is according to names. So we're going to look for P. There's K. And here's P. We're looking for Peterson. Now, here is Pearson, and we find Jan Erik Pettersson, and we're pretty sure it's him. There might be another one, we'll look and see, but we know this is him because he's a skomakare, which is the shoe maker, the cobbler. Let's look on the next page to see if we see any more Johan Petterssons. Up here, we see that there are some other Petterssons, and there's a Johannes, but he's a worker. There's another Johan, but he is not a skomakare, so we know we have the right person, who is on page 100. So now we go to page 100, and we should be able to find them there. Looking up at the top, remember who we're looking for, Hilma's family. Right here, now there's a Britta Kaisermatsdotter, there's a renter, and now we see a son, Skolmakaren Peterson Jan Eriksson. So this man that we've been following is the son of Britta Kaisermatsdotter. She's then we have the hustru, Anna Johanna Söderström. We have the places where they're from, Vala and Forsmark. Tells their years of birth, 1846 and 1832. Tells us that they will be found in the next book on page 170. And right down here we see Hilma, the daughter, and it says that she's born in this location. Now let's compile what we know about the family into a list. You can see that we're beginning to get quite a bit of information on Hilma's family. Let's move on to Step C. Step C says that we will move forward in time gathering all the household examination records that pertain to this family. If you'll remember, it says that the family will be found in the next book on page 170. So going back here, the next book would be 1877 to 1880, and it would be in A7. Going there, we would find this page on page 170, and keep looking down the page, and there's our family, the Skolmakaren, Jan Erik Peterson, and Anna Johanna, and Hilma Katrina. We'll continue searching for this family through each of the household records until all the people have died or until we've run out of records. The closer we get to the mid-1900s, privacy laws restrict the household records. That time period is different depending on different locations. As we move through Hilma's life, gathering each household record, we learn about her life. We see her grow up, we see her father pass away, we see her get married and have children. This is a record I want to show you. Look on line 2, there's Hilma Katrina Pettersson. On line 1 we have Axel Hilmar, that's her husband. Look down on line 6 at Hilma's daughter. There's Edith Johanna Pettersson. She's a Somerska, which is a seamstress, born in 1893 in Sala. She gets married, this is her marriage date, 1831, on Halloween actually, 10/31. Going along, I want you to look at this one. This is moving out. Look up at the top of 16. Utflytta, that means moving out. She's moving out to Ljusna, January 13th, 1932. We're going to go to that record. Here's how you would find it. You'll go to Soderala. Down below the household records in Archive Code B, we're going to find the moving in, move out records. And if you look in Archive B, moving out records for 1932, there's the record we'll need. Going down to there, we open it up, we find it 1932. Here is January 13th, that was the day right here. She's using her married name now because it did say she was married. Edith Johanna, F for Food, born Peterson. She's a factory worker. It tells where she is, and it tells that she's moving to Ljusna. So now we're going to look in our next film how to find her in the moving in records in Ljusna. Now we're going to find Edith in the moving in records in Ljusna. This is where it said in the moving out records. So now we go to Ljusna, we type it in, we find it down in this page, and we are looking for her moving in on January 13th. There she is on line 2. It says she's moved in There's her birth date. We know it's her. It says she came from Söderala. Then it says, it doesn't say where she's going to be living, but it does tell us the household record. That's so valuable. Now we could go to that record, look it up, and we do find her in that household record. Notice that it says that Edith has moved to page 264 of the household record. Let's take a look at that record and see. We notice down here is a Hans Boden, and below it, it says with an arrow that she is living here now. She's his hustru. There's a son for Hans, daughter, and she's living there now. As you go through all the household records for an entire family, you're going to be able to find all kinds of information. Take a look at all the information we've gathered from our sweep of Hilma's household examination records. In step D, we now gather all the original sources that were referred to in the household records. Not only do these records verify the information we found, but it will also provide more knowledge regarding the families. This is a list of the records that we need to look up in the parish records. I'm going to show you how to do two of these, Hilma's father's death record and Hilma's marriage record. We've already seen how to look up a birth record, a household record, and the moving records. Now I want to show you how to look up Hilma's father's death and also Hilma's marriage. These are only examples. When you're actually doing the research, it's important to look up at all the records for every individual that you've discovered, not only to prove relationship, but to also gain more information on the family, get a greater understanding of all the individuals, and hopefully extend the lineage. So now we're going to look up the father's death. Down here in Sandarna, we go to the archival code F. This is the year that he died. He died September 30th, 1887. So we can look in the death records, and we go to that right here. He died in September. Going down, September 30th, right here. Peterson, J.E. Smakra. Over here, he was 41 years of age, 6 months and 15 days. He dies of tuberculosis. This is where he was from, living. And here it tells the year, the month and the day that he was buried. Now we're going to find Hilma's marriage record. The household record states that Hilma was married November 27th, 1892, but it doesn't tell us where, so we assume it's Sandarna. Going to Sandarna, we open this book that correlates with the date. We go through till we can find the correct record. Here we are in 1892. We go down, November, here we are to 27th. Here's their marriage record. It doesn't have a lot of information, but it does let us know and verify the household record that it's correct. So we have Axel Hilmar Peterson from Sandarna and Hilma Katrina Peterson, also from Sandarna, and here is the information written by the person who performed the marriage. Once we have searched forward through the records and we've gathered out all the vital records that were discovered in the household records, we are ready to sweep backwards from Hilma's birth to the beginning of the family of Jan Erik Pettersson and his wife Anna Söderström. We will look for perhaps more children, siblings of Hilma's, perhaps other significant relatives, and we will be looking for the birth records of Jan Erik and Anna. These will be the beginnings of the next family of research, a chance to find the complete family of the previous generation. To begin my backward sweep, I returned to the household records where we found Hilma in 1872, which was in Household Book A3. Working my way backwards, I continued looking through the previous household records. Here's what I learned. According to the marriage record, this was the first marriage for both Jan Erik and Anna Johanna. Apparently, they had both grown up together in Valu, Stockholm County. Jan Erik's parents were Per Ersson and Britta Kajsa Matsdotter. Anna Johanna was the daughter of the parish shoemaker, Frank Soderström and Maria Österberg. Jan Erik moved with his parents to Sandarne, Gävleborg for work. Jan became a shoemaker, and it appears from the household record in the summer of 1867 that Jan asked Anna to join him in Sandarne. They married a few months later in the fall of 1867. From what I can learn in the household records, it seems they only had one child, Hilma. To verify this, one would need to go back to the birth records and look for children between 1867, when Anna arrived in Sandarne, and 1872, when Hilma was born. The reason for this is because the household records during those years are not available. Jan's father died shortly after Jan and Anna were married. Jan, Anna, and their daughter Hilma lived with Jan's mother Britta for a few years before they both moved into different households. Once we reach this final step, we find that we not only have the complete family Hilma grew up in, but the beginnings of several other families: her children's families, her husband's family, and the families that both her parents, Anna and Jan, grew up in. In the backwards sweep, because Hilma appears to have had no siblings, there were no birth records to search for in Hilma's immediate family. There was, however, the birth records of her parents to look up in Stockholm County, and her husband's birth record in Göteborg. There was one death record for us to verify. It was for Jan's father, who we learn was named Per Ersson. Sadly, it appears he died on a road between two villages. There was one marriage to look at, which was for Jan and Anna. All records were easily found except the record for Hilma's husband, Axel Hjalmar. The household record stated that his birth was July 7th, 1869 in Göteborg, yet no record was found. When searching through the birth records, there was an Axel Hjalmar on July 27th, 1869, whose father had the same last name of Pedersen. It appears that this is the correct birth record, but more research in the household records is needed to prove this is the correct person. By finding Axel's birth record, we are now a step closer to finding Axel Hjalmar's parents and finding a complete family for Axel. As I gathered Hilma's family, I kept a list of future research possibilities. Saving a list for later, instead looking for that information at the time, helped keep me focused on my objective, which was to find Hilma's family, both backward and forward. It also helped me keep track of what areas still needed further research. I included in her circle of family members her and her parents. I also included her grandparents that we came across in the household records, and her children, and a granddaughter that she ended up raising. I also noted that the names of her sons and daughters-in-law needed to be researched, but I didn't do that at this time. I have included their names on a possible future research project list. Here's my list. Number 1, discover if Hilma had any more siblings. Number 2, find out more about Hilma's 2 grandmothers. 3, research the early lives of both Hilma's parents. 4, research Hilma's children, her children's spouses, and her grandchildren. And the last, do more research on Hilma's husband and his extended lineage. This concludes this video of teaching you a strategy for using parish records to find complete families. It also concludes our series on discovering complete families while using the 5 basic Swedish church records. I hope you found this useful. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I've included a handout of this strategy for you to use. I hope you enjoy your time at Rootstick. Have a good day.